Good afternoon, and it's been pleasant to listen to all the experts. uh, I'm sorry that I came late for the program and I missed out on the morning and yesterday night networking. And I was just going through the Gardner report, which was published about 10 days back, which spoke about the challenges of HR in 2024. And it spoke about creating leaders and managers, that's one of the challenge, building culture, HR technology, change management, career management, and internal mobility. So, for the HR professional sitting here, this doesn't look like a new challenge at all, because I think when I started my career as an HR person, the same challenges were there. And even today we are talking about the same challenges. When I reflect on that, I understand, I feel that the reason could be that we are trying to ape the West or any other knowledge base, rather than looking at it from internally what suits us and how the fitment of culture can happen. So we are by just creating the metrics of what is relevant in the corporate world of driven by West, we try to put all those things into our plate, and many a time we'll not understand what we are trying to do also. In our culture, if you really look at it, I'll give an example. When I was the head of Global Edge Software, we used to hire young, fresh graduates out of engineering colleges. And our approach was that we need to look at taking people from the rural background more. And slowly what happened, there used to be this cult feeling that used to come. People wanted to select their own college students more and all. And suddenly we felt that the quality started decreasing. So then what I did was I spoke to the students who are seniors, who are there in the system, and said, don't cheat and take your juniors. But instead, I will pay you from the company. Why don't you go and coach them on how to crack the exam? And this we did, and it gave the results. Because the person who is going and coaching is from the same environment. So the understanding happens so easily. So somewhere I had actually made a presentation on Chanakya Niti, but after seeing what people have already spoken about it, I felt it was making the same thing doesn't make sense. But one particular thing I understand is that the coaching and mentoring what we speak, how do we internalize this within the organization based on the Indian ethos, which is already available for us as large examples, whether it is Chanakya and Chandragupta or Bhagwan Krishna and Arjun. There are a lot of such things. So, but how do we enumerate that into our own organizations? That becomes important. Because again, I remember one more incident of mentor-mentee relationship. We wanted, that was a huge fad in early 2000 and late 90s. So we also wanted to ape the other companies, and we said we will create a portal wherein we will have the mentees choosing the mentors and taking time and working out. But it didn't work at all, because everybody wanted the top CEO, the one person, to be the mentor, which is a normal thing, no? Because it is career enhancement, it is not learning. So one thing we need to look at is from an organization perspective. When we start creating these kind of things, how do we build that process? And I was also working with Kyocera Wireless, which is a Japanese company. And one thing I learned from there is that they used to have every 3 months a philosophy session for all HR heads of their companies. And I was there for about 2.5 years, and I attended some 9 such quarterly conferences. But for me, when I was sitting there, it was odd because they were deriving their philosophy from their own culture. That was from the Japanese culture. And many a times I didn't understand what are they referring to. So what we did was, we said we will have to Indianize this because the employees sitting here will not understand that. So we had to Indianize. So we did some sessions taking teachings from Bhagavad Gita and other texts. Actually, this gave us a lot of the citizenship within the organization. People started taking pride. And we were put on sale. 1,223 employees were aware that we were put on sale, and the attrition other time used to be around 7%. During that period of sale, it was less than 1%. And that is because we were able to do these other things which built that pride and the ownership to the company. And they also knew that company was selling them out. So my whole, this one is that when there are so much of knowledge, we need to look at the framework of which framework we need to adopt. For me, Chanakya's Arthashastra talks about a lot of things, which is like for a king, but it definitely applies for any leader for that matter. And if I really look at it, it talks on 3 things: the body, mind, and the soul. There are certain things which are routine things which he talks and documents and says these are routine, but then he documents and says this is how you need to do it. So can you find a better coach? I don't know. But there are certain things like which is mind related. He talks about those things, and then he goes on explaining why it is important that you need to work on these specific things. Then it's the soul part, there where it talks about happiness of citizens, why it is important. When you are talking about networking, he talks about how you need to go. The connection. Today we are talking, sitting here, many of the time, we say that the tribals are uncultured. And we also say that there is no relationship between the city, the urban people and the tribal people. But it was not like that. If you look at Arthashastra, it very clearly says there used to be the king is supposed to have regular meeting with the forest chieftains, which means there is a connectivity and there is a networking that happens. Because he also says at one point of time, unless who is going to raise the alarm of invasion is the tribal people, because anybody who has to come will have to come through that particular way. So if you take that whole thing into today's context, networking becomes very important. We all understand we need to network, but then we are so busy. Recently, I was on the CSR box conference. I was on the panel of couple of panels, and last year also I was there. But then the thing what I'm trying to say is, when we move out of the panel, there are so many people who want to come and talk to us, exchange cards and things, because these are all NGOs. These are all potential partners. But many of us, we don't even talk to them. We don't want to do that. Because the approach and attitude is more to look at it from a vendor relationship. So if you adopt some of these models which have been established and which all of us feel is good in our works, definitely we can bring in a change. So I'll stop here, and it's been a great learning.